Hi everybody, I'm Missy Matthews. He's Rob King. In week 2 of OTAs are in the books. There were 3 last week, 3 this week. Next week's mandatory mini camp, but we got some injury updates this week, Rob. And Cole Holcomb, an easy guy to cheer for, and it sounds like he is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, in fact, I had a chance to briefly talk to him after practice yesterday. Said he's doing well. You know, there's a question about whether he could have actually played last year in a playoff game. Probably the offseason. He said this is the best he's ever felt in an offseason because usually you're banged up, you know, and he's not banged up because he didn't play football, unfortunately. But to have him healthy, the speed element he brings, and again, easy guy to root for. He's going to be a big addition, I think, to the Steelers, and really good to see him back.
Now, there was unfortunately an injury during OTAs, and in that tight end group, it just feels like that was one that you didn't want to see happen because of the signing and just what they're trying to build in terms of the physicality adding to the offense.
Yeah, Donald Parham, who you're referring to, that's a big guy. So now, what do? You have to bring somebody else into that tight end group? Do you like the people you have? He was the big guy that they brought in. They have other guys that are a little bit smaller in stature. I think a guy that's got me very interested to watch progress as we move into minicamp, but really into training camp, is DJ Thomas-Jones, who they gave a good bonus to. He was listed as a tight end. Now they've got him listed as a running back. Is he going to be a fullback? Is he going to be a guy that can play H-back and fullback? Do you need that extra big guy? Could you stash some guys on the practice squad? So these are a lot of interesting decisions that we're going to see, but certainly for Parham, that's a loss, and obviously a big loss for him personally as well.
Yeah, and like I think you said, going to training camp is really where you maybe start to see a little bit more, but next week is mandatory mini camp, so we will see what happens there. In terms of Mika Fitzpatrick, we had a chance to hear from him this week, first time since the season, and it sounds like he is already taking that next step of regrouping and getting this defense to where they know they can be, especially when it comes to communication.
Yeah, and I love the additions that they made on the back end. You know, I think the concentration was, what are you going to do on the defensive line? And they've signed a couple of free agents. They drafted 2 guys in the draft, including the first-round pick in Harmon. But I think that, you know, you bring in a guy like Brandon Eccles, you bring in Juan Thornhill, you bring in Darius Slay. These are big additions. These are guys that can really play. A couple guys that can help you on special teams, but these guys should shore up the secondary. And it'll be interesting now, too, as well, to see, does that change a little bit of what you do maybe up front? So, what kind of play calls as far as putting more pressure on offenses, that sort of thing. So interesting, but yes, the communication's part of it because you have new faces coming in, and all these guys have to be working together on that as well.
And we keep talking about training camp, and we should mention, in case if you somehow don't know, but the training camp schedule, this is what everybody waits for. It is out. You can go to Steelers.com if you want to print it out, add it to your calendars. And it's crazy, but it's right around the corner. Yeah,
I can't wait. I mean, the OTAs and minicamp are a little like an hors d'oeuvre. You get ready, and you see some of the personnel groupings and that kind of thing. But you get up to training camp, and then you start to see, okay, who's making a name for himself? And then there's, different phases, like maybe some of the young guys come flying out of the gate, and then all of a sudden the intensity ramps up, the games begin, the veterans start to catch their stride. Does that change? Does a Sebastian Castro or a DJ Thomas-Jones sort of fight their way on the roster? What about these guys you selected in the draft? What's going to happen at certain positions? I mean, they've got a ton right now of inside linebackers. Remember a couple years ago?
Right.
They were, calling guys up, hey, can you still play? Can you
Miles
get off your couch?
Yeah.
Right. Now you're 8 deep at inside linebacker. You're deeper at defensive back. There's going to be a lot of good defensive tackles. I don't know if all of them can make the team. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for training camp as well.
All right, Rob, thanks for your time. That is our recap. Week 2 of OTAs. As we said, next week, mandatory minicamp begins here at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex on Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.